Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Vampires are very intriguing and they can be extremely complex, so in today's video I want to share as much information as possible about vampires in the world of The Witcher in 5 minutes or less. Also, I want to quickly mention that there are obviously many kinds and types of vampires in the world of The Witcher, but for today I will mostly focus on the higher vampires like Regis or Detlef. I think that they are the most interesting and they are also the most powerful type of vampires in The Witcher. What better starting point for the video than one of the most unique things about higher vampires, the fact that they are almost immortal. There is only one way to definitively kill them. It requires one higher vampire to kill another. It's extremely rare, and vampires, as Regis says in Blood and Wine, have a code of honor. It's rather simple. Do not kill each other regardless of the circumstances. We just also said that should it happen, should a vampire kill another, other vampires will not necessarily go after the murderer and chase him. We just explained it in a pretty simple sentence: out of sight, out of mind. So technically a vampire can get away with murdering one of his brethren, but only if he does not come across another vampire after doing the act. Next, let's talk about how they can be incredibly smart and or skilled at certain things. After all, they are immortal, so they have all the time they need to master quite literally anything in life. An easy example could be Regis learning how to communicate with ravens. It's important to also remember that every individual still has its own characteristics. For example, while Detlef is definitely not stupid, he is more emotional than some of the other vampires, and that's something that we can clearly see in Blood and Wine. So they're not necessarily always going to make the best decisions, as it also depends on their personal traits a little bit. Another interesting subject is that they are probably the strongest creatures in the world of The Witcher. The only possible argument against this really is the answer to the question who would win between a higher vampire and Gunter Odem. If it comes down to fighting, Gunter can quite literally stop time and kill a vampire, just like he did with that dude in Hearts of Stone. But surprise, at most that would lead to a regeneration process for the vampire, and that could last anywhere from a very short period of time all the way to decades. So I think in combat, it's fair to say that Gunter would win, but what would really be the extent of that victory? Maybe Gunter could try to take a vampire's soul, but I'm not sure how that would work exactly, given that, well, they are immortal, so what would happen? Also, like I talked about earlier, vampires can be incredibly smart, and if Geralt can beat Odin at his own game, then I would like to think that someone like Regis would most definitely do it as well. Now, again, what would that lead to? As we know, Geralt wins against Gunter, but Gunter says that he's not gone for real, so again, what would really be the extent of that victory? There is so much more to talk about when it comes to imagining a confrontation between a higher vampire and Gunter Odin that it could be its own video really. For now, let's move on. Most typical vampire repellents like holy water, crucifixes, wooden stakes, or even sunlight are all either ineffective against higher vampires in The Witcher or just slightly effective. For example, sunlight has somewhat of an effect, but they have adapted to it very well and can absolutely tolerate it. Blood and Wine is full of examples where we can see higher vampires standing in full daylight. If a vampire finds another vampire injured, he can leave him alone or help him nurture. That's what happened between Regis and Detlef. Regis also explained that it created a very strong bond and that they became blood brethren. He said that humans cannot even understand how strong that bond really is. Now, I would like to do a rapid fire section where I just share a bunch of facts about vampires, so here we go. They do not cast a shadow. They also cannot be seen in a mirror or any other reflective surfaces. Higher vampires do not require blood to survive, but it will make them more powerful, and they can also become addicted to it. Funnily enough, it is said that the effects of consuming too much blood can have similar effects to consuming alcohol. They can actually become drunk from it, or at least it's supposed to be very similar. Some of the lesser vampires will need blood in order to survive, but I couldn't find if it's every single lesser vampires or only some of them. But do keep in mind that it's not impossible for a vampire to absolutely require blood in the world of The Witcher. Higher vampires are extremely rare, and when you pair that with the fact that they can look human-like, most people will never see any of them, or at least they won't realize that they did. Higher vampires do not have any impact on a Witcher's medallion, which can come in pretty handy if they wish to hide their identity in presence of a Witcher. They are not necessarily dangerous for humans. They can actually be very friendly, or simply avoid interactions with humans completely. When vampires appeared thanks to the conjunction of the spheres, vampires from 3 different tribes arrived: the Tedet, Garasham, and Amron tribes. Detlef and Regis are both from the Garasham tribe. Thank you for making it to the end, and please tell me in the comment section if you learned anything new about vampires. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, and if you're interested in weekly The Witcher content, you might also want to subscribe. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon in a new video. Bye bye.